Alright. Time to pick the next waifu down the list. That would be Elizabeth Oshiro. Right, where we have a sort of love and hate relationship in the beginning. Like she acts very tsundere towards us. But let's chat with her. Honestly, I'm not sure why I'm making this choice, but here goes. Because you like her as a friend at the very least. Hello. Hi. An awkward silence descends between us. Without the hubbub of our other friends, the atmosphere feels notedly uncomfortable. We don't even have the consolation of a barrier of hatred anymore. Well, what is it? What are you up to right now? Studying for the university entrance exams. School might have been closed, but the tests have not been postponed. Huh, studying. What, you're not? Oh, yes, I see. Yeah, me and studying. I still haven't the foggiest notion how you managed to pass class, much less pull partially decent grades. Dashing good looks? Of that, I severely doubt. Oh, love, you ever wound me. Don't... Oh, never mind. Why are you calling? Despite her irritated front, I can tell that there's a hint of concern. Well, might I spare a moment of your time, Miss Bennett? There's a brief pause before she responds. Whatever for, Mr. Darcy, perchance to tease me at your whim. I'm starting to wonder if it's a good idea to talk to her instead of someone else. I need to give her a chance. Merely to exchange a word, Miss Bennett. I request your presence at the... Well, the entire school is closed. Don't want to meet her at a cafe. That's her workplace. Anywhere else? Of course, the river. Might we rendezvous at the river near the academy, Miss Bennett? It will be for but a moment. You do know what rendezvous implies, Mr. Darcy? A meeting, yes, I am aware. That's not... Oh, never mind. I shall see you there. Farewell, Miss Bennett. She cuts the call without another word, but I push away the creeping doubt. Right, time to head to the river. Here we are again. For the third time. But it's the first time for Yama. Every time. Elizabeth's already seated on the bench, hand idly pulling at the strands in her hair. She seems to be deep in thought. Deep in thought. Top of the morning, Your Majesty! Elizabeth jerks away, but to her credit, doesn't let out a sound. Oh, that was sudden. I sit next to her, feeling a little disappointed. What, have you gotten used to jump scares? I don't get your meaning. You didn't squeal. Instead of getting annoyed, she only glances away. So it seems. Well, what else would you expect considering that? She stops short. Never mind. Just tell me what you're here for. I want to crack another mouth, but when I open my mouth, or want to crack another mouth? Why did I say that? No, I want to crack another joke. But when I open my mouth, the truth spills out instead. I'm moving. Oh, that's unusual. I didn't think you would continue your studies. Wait, what? Aren't you moving schools, since the academy is closed? I suppose that even if it's for a short time, you might learn something vitally important. The thought never crossed my mind. I'm not changing schools, I'm moving away from Izumo. Well, whether you stay in Izumo or not doesn't strictly speaking matter, as long as you're transferring. I'm not going to school. I'm moving back to my hometown because my parents want me to get out of here after the whole, serial killing business. The sudden burst of rage falls just as quickly as it rose. I sink into the bench, wearily pressing my fingers against my forehead. Sorry. No, I should have understood. You don't want to move, I presume? Why would I? Because your parents do have a point. You did nearly die. So I'd run away because I was scared? Also, did I run away because my frames are dropping? Okay, did it stop dropping? Okay. Well, you know, eventually the frames will come back. Also, it wouldn't exactly be inconsistent with your character. In the past, you have tended to run away from your problems. I open my mouth to spew a comeback, but something gives me pause. She's not saying this in a malicious manner, she's just being blunt and speaking her mind. It's actually refreshing. I don't need to second guess what she's thinking. Yeah, I guess I've run away a lot. But if you think about it, I've only run where there's someplace better to run to. I've gotten a pretty good life here. Been here for what, 4 years? I don't have anything to gain by going back to my hometown. And Izumu is also boasted to be the most prosperous town in Japan. Exactly. No reason for me to leave. I'm glad you can adopt such a clinical view. What can I say? I'm an optimist. Elizabeth twitches her lip, pausing for a moment. And yet, it seems that there may be a reason to leave Izumu. The media, amongst other things. Ryota's cover-up, amongst other things. How many of these other things are going on exactly? A whole bloody lot, apparently. Truly, your language is dainty, Miss Bennett. And yours as primitive as ever, Mr. Darcy. We drop into another silence. Talking with Elizabeth without a sense of pure loathing, it's an incredibly surreal feeling. So, have you anything else to say, besides announcing this sudden move? Like what? Oh, I don't know. But we are by a river, with no one else around, a few weeks after your recovery from a life-threatening ordeal, sitting on a bench, together. What, do you think I'm gonna push you in the river? Blimey, you're about as dense as a block of metal. Or maybe I just don't want to think about what you're implying. Well, I mean, this time I guess this assumes that Yama knows what Elizabeth is talking about. I think you've been reading too many books, Lizzie. You're getting a little paranoid, no? Oh, shut up. Well, aren't you feisty? Care for a spot of tea? If only to douse you with. There's something comfortingly familiar about the verbal abuse. This time, when we pause, it doesn't feel strained. Well, don't worry about that kind of stuff. By the way, I already get enough matchmaking when it comes to Ryui. Ah, right. I assume you're going to visit her today? I'm supposed to, I guess. What's that supposed to mean? Should I tell her? Elizabeth of all people? A few months ago, I wouldn't have. I would have expected her to mock me, or insult me, maybe even hit me. But then again, today's different. I'm pretty sure she's going to confess to me. So you're thinking of running away? Surprisingly, though her words are blunt, there's not a fleck of hostility in her voice. Well, when you put it that way. I know that many people believe that the two of you should date. Does that, in a way, only make you more repulsed by the idea? She's taking me seriously. I should be surprised, but I find that I'm not. I'm not exactly repulsed, I just don't really know how I feel towards Ryui, I guess. I see. It wouldn't feel fair to her if we started dating when I don't even know how I feel. Well, that makes sense. I'm proud. You're being very mindful of the situation. I snort at this, until I realize that she's not joking. Wait, for real? I'm just saying, that's what used to bug me the most. You never took anything seriously. Even so. Well, from my perspective, it seems like you care about Ryu very much. You probably just don't want to hurt her, correct? Yeah. I've read several novels about childhood friends. Sometimes, They wonder whether they really like each other, or whether their feelings are just natural reactions to spending so much time together. It seems like everyone says that. Yeah, that's exactly it, actually. She's really special, but do you wonder about Ryu? If she's simply mistaking her friendship for feelings? I never thought about it consciously, but I think she's right. You're quite observant, Miss Bennet. A natural consequence of being well-read, Mr. Darcy. There's a small pause. Elizabeth takes a quiet breath. I think you should see her today. Nothing good will come from holding all of this in. In my opinion, the two of you just need to have a proper talk. Like we did? About drastically different things, I would hope. I chuckle. It's genuine. Well, thanks, Elizabeth. Elizabeth turns back to the water, contemplative. Are you coming back? I'd like to, I guess. But are you coming back? Probably not. She coughs lightly. I glance at my phone. Time to meet Riri. Mind telling the others why I'm moving? I gotta go. Already? Yeah, my parents are coming soon. Should I ask why you'd rather not tell them yourself? There's such thing as text messaging and email, you know? Can you ask? Of course. Should you? Preferably not? Why not? Because, you know, I have this feeling that you're trying to be a noble idiot who distances everyone and tries to save the world on his own. The insight is sudden but keen. I find myself remembering Natsuki's visit. I've told myself that I won't really have time to visit one person, but it's not exactly like communicating with people is hard. So then, why do I feel so reluctant? There's a very plausible answer that I haven't thought of until now, subconsciously. I still believe that getting people involved will just hurt them. If little Natsuki's little drop-in, well, she's not all that little, really. Anyway, if Natsuki's little drop-in wasn't an indicator of that, I don't know what was. So yeah, I guess now we know the reason why Yama's not, giving the message to everyone. Doesn't want to worry anyone else and is trying to isolate himself from his former friends. Or he's trying to be a former friend. Because, it might be that he's in danger, right? Or the people close to him might be in danger because Natsuki clearly threatened him, right? When she visited his apartment and all that. But, yeah. Please, you know me. The only skin I tried to save would be mine. We both know that's utter rubbish, Yama. I only stand with my best attempt at a disarming smile. Take care, Lizzie. And you. Talking to Elizabeth was unusually comfortable, relatively speaking. Sure, we weren't exactly chatting it up like best friends, but given the circumstances, I'm just surprised that we can hold a decent conversation. I wonder if we have a lot more in common than I originally thought. Then journey to the train station? This feels surreal. Okay. But before we meet Ryui, one more. We must meet with Misaki. The childhood friend that, abandoned us, you know? Long time ago. Considering the circumstances, this is probably the best person I can talk to right now. Yeah. I mean, other than Ryui, Misaki's probably the closest one we can talk to, right? Closest person we can talk to. Hey Yama, what's up? This is kind of sudden, but are you busy with work right now? No, why do you ask? Do you think we can meet up? A silence pervades over the line. She didn't hang up, did she? Are we going on an adventure? What? So no. No, I just wanted to talk to you about something. Oh, I see. So, where do you want to meet? How about the... Nope, school's closed. Of course. Have you been to the river by the school? The river? Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Alright, I'll see you there in a bit. He cuts the call. Time to head to the river. And of course, Misuka does know what happened with our past, so that's why she was hesitant to go to the river at first, asking if it's okay. I find Misuki already waiting for me. Her elbows are propped on the railing, a faraway gleam in her eyes as she overlooks the cityscape. That's odd. Normally, she would be absorbed in her phone or snapping photos of everything around her. I tap her on the shoulder to get her attention. Afternoon, stranger. Oh, you're here. That's about time you showed up. No, sorry for not having superhuman speed. You could always jump into radioactive waste like all the other superheroes. Does the Rainbow River count? As pretty as it is, it's plenty polluted. So you're saying you already have a superpower? If I said I could destroy enemies with one punch, would you believe me? One punch! No. Not in the slightest. You need to be bald for that. Yep. How that relates to having a superpower is not beyond me, because that's a reference to One Punch Man. So, what do you want to talk about? It must be important if you couldn't tell me over the phone. I fix my eyes on the churning river, taking a moment to decide how to break the news. I'm moving away. Moving away? You mean back to Seto? Yeah, my parents aren't very happy when they heard about the incident. So they told me to move back with them. They don't think Isamu's safe anymore. Misuki's fingers curl around the railing, her gaze still transfixed somewhere off in the distance. I see. And after we've just reunited, I just thought that maybe we could have spent some time together, just like when we were younger, but I might have been getting ahead of myself. Despite her composure, there's a catch in her voice. I'm sorry, Yama. I shouldn't be this upset. I awkwardly reach forward, then step back, then settle for an awkward pat on the shoulder. Pat, pat. I get it. I don't want to leave either. Well, I mean, it's ironic, isn't it? 4 years ago, I was the one to leave. Now it's you. If anyone should be upset after all this time, it should be you, at me. And yet... She lifts her eyes to the sky and tilts her head back, breathing deeply. After a moment, she seems to regain her composure. Have you told anyone else you're leaving? I haven't had the chance. My parents are picking me up in a few hours. Not soon. Yeah, unfortunately. She bites her lips, seemingly lost in thought. Yama, there's something I need to tell you, before you go. What is it? She turns to me, reaching out to hold my hands. I almost shrink back instinctively, but that would be kind of rude. Misuki was always very handsy. Thank you, for never leaving me. But I am leaving. Oh, that's not what I meant. She sighs heavily. I know that I'm not the easiest person to get along with. I used to drag you everywhere with me. You always ended up getting hurt, or in trouble, or even both. And yet, you never hated me for it. She smiles wistfully, her grip tightening around my fingers. Thank you for always being there for me, Yama. That's why I love you. Did she just... This sudden nonchalant declaration leaves me speechless. Misuki loves me? Since when did that happen? What's the matter? Well, what about Ryui? Oh, I love Ryui too, of course. Oh, okay. Or is it Yuri too? No, I don't know. Wait, what? Is it so wrong with me to say that I love you guys? You mean you weren't... I wasn't what? She looks genuinely confused until a realization dawns on her. Oh, you thought I was confessing. I love you, Yama, but not in that way. I untangle myself from her grip in embarrassment. Then, you probably should be using the word love so casually, Mickey. Yama was, I think, a little optimistic there. Crap, now I'm starting to sound like Elizabeth. Ignoring my anguish, Misaki slaps me on the back, a smug grin plastered on her face. You thought I was confessing, and the first person you think about is Ryui. I thought you said you didn't have feelings for her. Well, you see, I stumble over my words like an idiot. Why did I think of Ryui? Sure, I know she likes me. Is that why my intrinsic response is to reject anyone else? Honestly, I don't know. You are going to see her before you leave, aren't you? Oh yeah. She's the one who told me to visit her, actually. I'm pretty sure she's going to confess to me. Oh, don't tell me you're getting cold feet? Well... Misaki steps forward, suddenly, gripping me by the collar. Oh, what are you... You have to see her, Yama. You can't just ignore the situation anymore. I know that you're scared. I know you don't want to lose her. But just imagine how Ryu must be feeling right now. She's probably just as afraid as you are. And if things don't work out, do you honestly believe you'll ever grow apart? After everything you've gone through together? I've known you both for a long time now, and there's no denying that you care for each other, even if it isn't in a romantic sense. So go talk to her, Yama. She needs you right now. Seemingly done with her scolding, Misaki releases me. She's right. She's completely right. I never really considered how hard it must have been for Ryu to decide to confess to me. The least I could do is take her words to heart. Okay. Good. Now that we have that settled, I have a favor to ask of you. And what might that be? Promise me that you use paddle more often. It's a very tame request coming from Misaki. Alright, I promise. I promise. Cross your heart and die? Isn't it cross your heart or hope to die? Probably. I was never good with idioms. I chuckle at that. Alright, but I still wouldn't know what to pad about. Like I told you before, it could be anything. So I could post that picture I took of you of picking the school lock. You didn't. Oh, what's wrong? Afraid it would tarnish your online image as the cool, polished trendsetter? I thought we were partners in crime, Yama, not backstabbers. Help those who help themselves, right? Or, I might have a better idea. Which is... You make yourself popular on Patter, and we establish influential connections. Then, with our combined leverage, we take over the world. My own, my love, my precious. Precisely. This girl scares me sometimes. And yet, why do I feel honored? In some twisted way, I guess it's because she regards me as an equal. Come to think of it, that was the case even when we were younger. To Misaki, I was never this troubled or weird kid. I was just a friend. Someone who she wanted to have adventures with. Someone who she wanted to experience life with. I guess that I'd always appreciated that. Even if world domination is a bit of an extreme case. Say, Miki. Yes. I gotta go soon, so could you tell the others why I had to move away? Sure thing. She could have asked why I didn't want to tell them myself. She could have asked why I can just text them on my own. She simply accepted. She simply trusted me. Thanks. I turn away, but her hand touches my arm. Yama. See you later. I swallow, my my throat suddenly dry and coughing. So I take a moment to drink some water. As it turns out, reading a ton out loud makes your throat a little dry sometimes. Okay. I swallow, my throat suddenly feeling heavy. And hydrated. You too, Miki. And with that, I walk away, heading to the train station. Wait, okay. Coughing a little bit. I guess, well, we go back here, right? No, I guess it doesn't matter. We still end up in the same place anyway. But yeah, we talk with all the waifus. And my throat is still dry. Hold on. Oh no, I'm dying. But not really though. I'm not actually dying. I just have a dry throat and I'm out of water. Oh no. Hopefully my voice can survive until the end of this game. Alright. Okay, so this is after, talking to all the waifus. We got a bunch of advice. Well, technically, even though, we only talked to one. Technically, we don't, for this timeline, we talked to Irie. Or at least this load. I always say timeline. It's not technically a timeline. It's not like it's a thing in this visual novel. But sometimes I like to refer to saving and loading to parallel universes anyway, when you make different choices in the game. Anyway, so yeah, we talked to Irie, a bunch of advice, and we kind of learned like a little bit about them, how they react. They always just tell us to be truthful to Ryui and stuff. And also, we learned a little bit like some tidbits of, like, for example, why Yama doesn't want to talk to everyone, doesn't want to text everyone, and how he feels about a relationship with Ryui and that sort of thing. Each having a slightly different perspective of Yama's relationship and also their whole relationship as well to the waifus we've spoken to, right? Anyway, I guess, it's time to go to Ryu's house. I board a subway to Ryu's house, gripping the pen in my pocket as the tunnel lights glare past the windows. Just go there, just talk with her, just hear her out. I'd like nothing more than to bolt, but this is the time to man up and face the problem head on. Head on, apply directly to the forehead. Everything will be fine. Probably. My arrival in District 2 is quiet and unhurried. Both the station and the roads are practically empty. Despite its close distance to the heart of the city, this district takes on some more definite suburban qualities. Plants are definitely more plentiful here than any other district, save for the boundary by the eastern forest. As I jump into the nearest cab, I catch a glimpse of the towering cluster of research buildings that line the roads. They're the closest thing to skyscrapers in this district. Most of them proudly bear the insignia of Way Forward Pharmaceuticals. Well, I guess that District 2 is known as the medical district for a reason. Hospitals, retirement homes, top-tier specialized treatment centers, District 2 would have it all. I've experienced it myself, or far more than I would have liked. So I guess, a little bit more lore about the world. I remember, was it like District 6, was it? That was like the core district and power of District 8, I think? Or 8 or 9 or whatever. Was where the academy was, very a wealthy place. And I guess District 2 is the medical one. I wonder if we ever learned about the other districts. And if they're ever relevant to the story, I don't know. Or, well, actually we didn't. Did we learn another district? I guess it's hard to visualize all the districts and remember them all. Because we haven't really seen like an overhead map or anything. I would like to have like an actual map of the world. That would be cool, to get an idea what the setting is like and stuff, how everything is located, right? Because I remember there was like a shopping district too, right? A place where there's like a bunch of, you know, stores and stuff. A commercial district maybe. I don't remember the number though. Anyway, and well, I wonder why they're just numbered. You know, they don't have unique names or anything. But anyway, whatever. I dismiss my thoughts as the taxi rolls its way to the quieter side of the district and pulls to a stop at the entrance of a suburban neighborhood. A quick payment later, I'm striding to a familiar picket fence house on the corner of the street, surveying the sign hung cheerily on the door. Home is where the heart is, and the heart is where the Hayatas are. Cute. I'd always thought of that phrase as stupidly cheesy when I was a kid. But once you grow up a little, I guess you start appreciating stupidly cheesy things. I guess you do. I stand before the house for a moment, breathing quietly through my nose. Well, this is it. The point of no return. Isn't that what they call it? Don't you always say before the point of no return? Because this is the final boss. Oh no, the final boss is gonna like come out of the door and we're gonna fight them. Ah. The moment where it's no longer possible to have 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on land, where the fence is too high to straddle and too thin to balance on. Yes or no, black or white, A or B. It's time for me to make a decision, whatever that decision means. I raise one hand to the door, pause. One hand. How many lives have been ended with one hand? Roman gladiators look into the audience, searching for telltale direction of their thumbs. Execution orders of monarchs all over the world, given with a snap of the fingers or the raising of an arm. Anyone with a semi-automatic in their hand, able to end a destiny with a twitch of their index finger. This isn't good. My mind wandering again. I tell myself that the situation isn't even that bad, that really I just need to focus. Now's not the time to lose my head. I raise my hand again and knock firmly on the door. But it gives way beneath my knuckles, creeping open in the silence. Maybe she left it open for me. But then the smell hits. I gently open the door. The moment it does, everything is just unbearable. The first thing that hits my nostrils is a gassy, greasy smell of something burning, like stir fry left too long in a steel pan. I instinctively cover my nose with my sleeve. The stench presses past my fabric, filtering through every thread like a worn sieve. The house is dark, beyond dimly lit. Not a single light flickers within sight, even on the electronics. Every curtain is fastened shut, leaving only stray pinpricks of light peeking through the windows. A strange curdle of fear fastens in my stomach. I push the door wide open, my voice crackling. Uncle? Auntie? Ryui? A flood of sunlight washes around my figure, bathing the living room in an ivory glow. What it reveals is cruel, unforgiving, as bleak as it is bright. Shards. It's the first thing my eyes land on. Fragmented, torn-edged shards of metal, wood, glass, all strewn over the floor and the furniture. Cushions with ragged seams are scattered on the ground, accompanying their toppled armchairs and sofas. The family pictures, usually in pristine condition on the walls and are hanging askew. Frames cracked and pictures sagging through broken glass. Transfixed in shock, I step forward, my eyes roving around to take in the scene. I pass by the narrow doorway that leads to the kitchen. Ryu and I used to play tag there, back in the day. That and we try to climb up the doorframe by pushing against opposite sides with our hands and feet. Now, all I see is a pan, settled on the stove. Old oil dancing over blackened food. The stove's still alight. Doesn't take a genius to realize that it's the source of the stench. A fire hazard in any other circumstance. And yet, it doesn't feel like the fire is the worst to come. I almost chuckle. Maybe they were preparing for my arrival. Hospitality was always their strong suit. But despite that, abandoned cooking, lit stove, burning food, these signs all point in the same direction as the destruction before me. Something that winds in a lazy path into the dining room. Glass crunches beneath my shoes as I stop by the adjoining corridor, lifting my eyes slowly to the dining table. Dread. I had often felt it in my life. That black, slick sensation in the pit of my stomach that sloshed with every step I took. That rose as bile to my throat, that crushed my lungs until I suffocated on my own breath. But I had never felt it like this. I stagger against the wall, my heart stopping cold in my chest. Ryui's father is slouched against the table, head pressed almost comically into a bowl of soup, his hands hanging idly at his side. Blood is coated over the back of his skull, crusting over his neatly kept hair and swimming in the soup that covers his face. His skin is pale, lifeless, his joints solidified from rigor mortis. Dead. How could this happen? My vision spins angrily before my eyes. I feel the automatic response of my conscience slipping away. No. I wrestle reality back into my grasp, jerking away from the terrible scene. I have to call the police to get help, do something. I stumble out of the dining room, jamming at my phone with trembling fingers when my foot catches against something stiff and creaky and something very human. Ryu's mother, blank-eyed, cuts from the shattered fragments on the floor covering her body, jaw locked in shock at an unseen assailant. A bullet hole is planted squarely in her chest, soaking her clothes and the carpet around her with blood. Clutched in her frozen hand is a pitiful capsule of pepper spray, a laughable self-defense when surrounded by such devastation. I shakily pull myself to my feet, my breath coming fast and heavy. Too late. Dead. All my fault. Ryui. Where's Ryui? I stagger upward, vision still twisting as I pull myself along the wall and into the kitchen. She might still be alive. She might be okay. My own mind ridicules this senseless hope, and yet I feel strength bursting to my limbs, clearing my mind for one vital minute. Let's invent a little story. Let's say that, once upon a time, a terrible murder occurred at an unsuspecting faux suburban home. Two adults, accomplished adults, beautiful and gentle adults, were brutally shot to death. Let's say that their home was ravaged, that shards of wood, glass, metal, and ceramics littered the ground so heavily that it was impossible to take a single clear step. But let's say that their sacrifices were not in vain, that despite this blindsiding crime, their daughter, their precious little girl, was able to escape. This daughter found refuge. She waited for her friends. She was terrified. She was upset, but she was alive. Let's invent this little story and let's pretend that it's true. Let's sleep in peace, wrapped with hope, ready to fight with a brighter tomorrow. But stories, no matter how beautiful, are always so very wrong. Because in the kitchen, there is an island counter. At the edge of the island counter, there's a sickening lump of blood that lazily oozes down the cabinet. And below this island counter lies something very, very mocking. The hope that had dared to rise in my chest crashes down my lungs, driving all breath from my body. My eyes are peeled open, unblinking, as if staring will somehow get rid of this sickening display. No, this isn't true. I crumple against the floor, splattering blood over my knees. I taste something metallic on the corner of my tongue. Visceral memories, barely 3 months old, surge to my eyelids. No, this was over. Everything was over. Isn't true, isn't true, isn't true, isn't true. Pipes, screaming, wood on the metal, and a knife sinking deep, deep into flesh. No, 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 no. I seize the nearest object, a renegade shard from a nearby shattered ball, and gash it violently against my skin. It should skitter across the surface, or glide like ice, or feel distant, quiet, 7 worlds away. But my arm shrieks in protest as the edge digs into the flesh, drawing slower, weeping blood. I can only stare as it throbs. It's not a nightmare, not a dream, nothing but reality. Bile claws up my throat until I retch against my mouth. I barely manage to turn away in time. Digested saliva drips from my lips and seeps into the cracks of the tiled floor. A vision, a hallucination, some other explanation. Not this, never this. My sweat is ice cold against my skin. I'm shivering with such intensity that my bones rattle in my eardrums. Pipes, knives, vomit, blood. Smoke, flooding, exhaust. No, this was supposed to be over. This was supposed to be behind us. She was safe. She made it home. She wasn't at school. She was safe. I forced my eyes to drift down, engraving every corner, every color, every spike of light into the deep recesses of my mind. Eyes glazed, mouth slightly agape, a remnant of surprise. She's dressed nicely. So nicely. I don't even remember the last time I saw her out of uniform. She's even wearing jewelry. I choke over my own voice. Right. She thought of dressing nicely today. She thought of meeting up with me. We were going to have a little dramatic scene. Something to do with I like you, and me too maybe. We go on to eat together with her family, maybe being embarrassed, maybe being understanding. Who knows what decision we would have come to, but that is a different world. I reached to her cheek, touching her jaw with the edges of my fingertips. There should be warmth, pulsating life. I almost expect to feel her breath against my palm. Cold, still, unnatural. A mannequin manufactured by fate. A small sigh expels from my lips, washing against her bangs. Really? Wake up. Her eyes are open, unblinking. A staring contest on the other side of life. She's not here. I retract my throbbing arm back to my side, slumping unceremoniously against the kitchen island. Shouldn't I scream for help? Shouldn't I wail in anger? But I only feel a numbness settling over my skin. Something deep, calm, like a lake frosting over in the face of fresh snow. Of course it would be Riri, just like it was Mizu. There doesn't need to be logic, there doesn't need to be any sense. All there has to be is cold, unforgiving injustice. All there has to be is misery, pain, suffering. Death can strike wherever it pleases, so long as it receives its ample reward. I throw back my head. I laugh. It reverberates in the empty, splintered ceiling. Beautiful, I muse. It's a cold kind of beauty, but it's beautiful. Just like death. My eyes drift onto Ryu's face. I only stand there, an irreplaceable calm stilling all other thoughts. I can almost see it from here. Her fragile, pale body laid gently against the ground like a princess in slumber. Maybe she'd be smiling a peaceful smile. I'd like that. She would be lovely, quiet, vulnerable, weak. She'd be standing here, frozen in shock, the images swimming before her in macabre production. Weak. She'd be trying to call the police, but her fingers would slide across the bloody surface of her phone to no avail. Weak. I wish that we could trade places. I wish that I would be the one lying on that floor, and she would be the one slumping against the wall with her useless phone clasped in her trembling fingertips. I wish that I would be the one with my jaw solidified in horror, and she would be the one with a peaceful, emotionless smile. I wish that I would be gone, drifting away in the soulless wind, and she would be here, her spirit tortured and rent apart, but alive. I wished many things, most of them too ridiculous to name. This too must be ridiculous. My vision blurs. Perhaps I care, perhaps I don't. Something clatters to the ground, steeped gently in Ryui's pool of blood. Time wears drearily on. I see nothing. I hear nothing. There's nothing in my mind but a pale reflection, a glimmer of scarlet ribbon fixed behind my eyelids. The clock ticks. I talk. Of all people, Ryui Hayata. We've just escaped a serial killer. We've just been stretched to our wits' ends. We've just been in intensive therapy for 3 months. That was certainly a hefty debt for life to repay. An innocent, gentle-hearted girl thrust into something that snatched away her ability to talk. She deserved the world. She should have grown up, married a guy who was madly in love with her, had 1.6 children. Wait, what? 1.6 children? How does that work? Anyway. Sorry to ruin the mood here, but... Anyway. Lived in a house with a white picket fence. But this? What is this? This is beyond simple injustice. This is just cruelty. Life is cruel. Death is cruel. And Ryui has to pay the price for their damn little games. Treating her like a pawn on a chessboard, an insignificant sacrifice for a meaningless play. I can't stand it. She never deserved this. Any of it. Any of it. I lash out blindly. The heel of my foot splinters against something wooden, stabbing deep into my leg. The pain feels distant, like my limbs are detached from my head. Might as well be. After fighting so hard to keep it all together, slamming ourselves repeatedly into a wall until it shattered with our broken bodies. Ryui's still dead. Then the pain, a hammering, hollow circle of agony in my arm and my foot, drives to a sudden frenzy. I'm assaulted with the sensations, bright and fierce and angry, corkscrewing directly into the marrow of my bones. No Riri, no more Riri, no more bright smiles and flushed cheeks and teasing winks and exasperated loving little sighs. My calf clenches in sudden agony. I bite the inside of my cheek to keep from screaming. No more. No more fretting like a mother hen and totally extra lunchboxes and tiny little signs of jealousy. The throbbing in my arm rises to my shoulder, past my neck, right into my skull. I cradle my head in my arms, desperate. No more casual trips to GFC and random moments of make-believe and strolls around downtown, because life as you know it, is gone. Tears squeeze from below my eyelids, mixing the flecks of blood and bile smeared over my face. Stop. Stop. Just make it all stop. Not Ryui. Not Mizu. There's so much pain. Too much. I can't handle it. I can't handle this. And everything hurts. I just can't. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jill fell down and Jill fell, fell and broke her. And Jack came tumbling after. Then Jill's corpse comes to life. It jerks upright, limbs tied to loose ends of puppet strings, smiles at me through a sheen of blood. Oh, Jack, you're late. Iron shoves out my nostrils and strangles down my throat. I choke, working to speak. Sorry. She pitches forward, pushed by something invisible. Her slender fingers wrap around my neck and dig into my throat. I catch a whiff of her breath. Putrid, rancid, the smell of raw, old eggs over decaying meat. The smell makes me gag over my own tongue. You shouldn't have been late. Her fingers disintegrate into bones, skin cells, blown to ashes on the wind. They clatter into an orderly pile, forming a makeshift xylophone. Tinny little notes begin to ring from their skeleton surfaces. It's supposed to be a melody. I can feel the vibrations in the air. I know that the song is supposed to be beautiful, but my ears hear only dissonance, cacophony, a dirge from a murder of crows. A pungent, burning smoke shoots from the stove like an arrow, slapping me in the face. Hospitality. I should have been hospitality. Don't do this. Come back. Come back, Ryui. My surroundings melt away. I squint against the screeching, agonizing white that stabs at my eyes. The light only intensifies. No rest. Never rest. You are trapped, you fool. There is no place for you. I reach out. The brightness pricks my hands. I slither backward. Stop. Stop it. The light advances and digs through my fingernails, bleeds past my eyelids, settles in the space at the back of my neck. I pound myself against invisible walls. A rattle chimes on a wooden bridge. No place, no peace, no pace. Stop it. Everything ends. Elsewhere, something must be beginning. But what is that to an ending? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But this, I can't do anything about this. This is out of my control. Out. To be continued. I guess, yeah, we're left on a cliffhanger. Yep. And we know what happens next with Yama. We know from the bad ends. If he suffers through traumatic, stress like that, especially when Ryu dies, or like, yeah, is pushed to the point of breaking mentally, that's when Yama's other personality comes into play. And I guess, yeah, these are the credits. And, well, as I said before, I think I mentioned it before, there is a part 2 to this, but it hasn't been made yet. And, well, we don't know if it'll be made, but hopefully it will. And what a fancy little credit screen. Like, everything's like slipping, or rather, how do you say it? Like all the little notes are like pushing against each other in like a very stylistic way. Pretty cool credit scene. Anyway, I guess, I don't know, Ryu is dead. That's pretty surprising. But I mean, I kind of suspected that, to be honest, because I knew the game was not gonna end on a happy note. Because again, there's a sequel, right? Also, I was aware that, like in a mystery game, like in the murder mystery game, to have like a what's the word? Like a impact, an emotional impact on the audience. Usually, you want to kill a character that's already been developed in the story, And all the victims so far are just like a bunch of background characters, really, that we didn't really know. And that's why I personally felt like it didn't really have that much of an impact, right? It's like, oh no, the serial killer is killing a bunch of students. It was like, I didn't really care. I mean, obviously, people dying in general is like horrible, but the thing about a story is that you need to be personally connected with someone, And what inevitably happens, almost always, in a murder mystery game, especially if it's like in an anime style, someone will probably die. And I've kind of suspected that ever since the bridge scene, or not the bridge scene, well, yeah, actually the river scene rather, the river scene where we didn't really get a choice to simply spend time with Ryu, right? There was like choices to spend time with other waifus, like either we do or we don't, right? And that probably what leads us to the final river scene. And they all say the same thing, that, confess to Ryu, or Ryu confess to you, have a relationship. Oh, thank you for playing Lucid9. Yeah, we did it. Anyway, but because that Ryu wasn't an option, we were kind of railroaded. I kind of expected that something would happen to her. I was thinking she would just be kidnapped again, but I guess that would be monotonous, right? That already happened like 2 times actually. Technically, the first time wasn't real, but if it happened the third time, that would just be ridiculous. So instead, I guess the writer or the developer just killed it off. Amazing. And well, this isn't like I guess, again, this isn't the very end yet. There's more. It just hasn't been made yet. So I'm looking forward to it, right? The sequel, if it'll ever be made. But yeah. So kind of like, kind of a downer ending, right? You've been through all this stuff, and just turns out that your childhood friend is dead. That sucks. And let's see. Oh, what was I gonna say before? Again, I've been repeating myself a little bit, but I wish Lucid9 Inciting Incident was like, I don't know. I wish it was presented in a way where it was simply just a slice of life comedy, romance sort of visual novel, at least at first, right? And then it doesn't really reveal the fact that it gets a little dark, unless it gets a little like, gory and involves murder and all that sort of stuff until like or rather, like, yeah, it saves it until the very end, which it does. But I feel like it reveals its hand way too early, right? So which kind of makes the mystery lose a bit of impact, I think. And I'm specifically referring to the fact that on the Steam store page, it's clearly advertising itself as like a mystery game. Oh no, like it's mystery, you gotta figure stuff out, and you do, right? But most of the time in the visual novel, really it's just like a slice of life high school comedy anime style story thing, right? It's like almost mostly like silly and then like cheesy stuff, which, and I saw in the reviews, turned some people off, you know, because they weren't expecting that, you know. But I personally like I don't mind that sort of thing. I don't mind if like it's super anime and it's like super cheesy, because I like that, right? But I feel if it instead of advertising the mystery part right in front, if it did the reverse, you know, if it just again presented itself as like seemingly innocent and pure and all that sort of stuff, and of course like put a little warning that stuff does get a little dark later on, but like don't hint at it too much, so when it does get, you know, to the shocking bits, well, it's more shocking, right? You don't expect it if it is that way, right? Which well, it's what the infamous Doki Doki Literature Club did. You know, that game. It like tricked, quote unquote, the audience into thinking it was like a, you know, nice, wholesome game when it wasn't. And I say tricked, quote unquote, because it clearly gave a warning that it was not like that at all, you know. And that's I personally I like the DLC because of that. And I wish Lucid9, or rather, well, it's too late now, of course, but like Lucid9 could have done something like that too, right? Mixing that innocent, you know, wholesome exterior with a much darker interior would make the game much more memorable, I think. But as it is, still pretty good. Again, that cliffhanger is still a bit of a doozy. You just want to know like what happens next, you know? It's kind of like Ryu's dead. Like, well, what the fuck are you supposed to do now? Like, how is the story gonna continue? I haven't a clue. And well, at least without it, you know, becoming dumb, I guess, you know, making the story not like silly, you know? Because after something like that, how is Lucid9 gonna become silly school slice of life, you know, sort of atmosphere again? It's probably become, I assume, the second game is probably something like super serious, right? It's gonna be super serious and dark the whole time instead of the, you know, the silly hijinks at the beginning. But well, I don't know. We'll see. And yeah, I guess I might do, I don't know. There's some like extras, right? You see the CG, the stuff. You know what? Oh, there's a CG missing here. I don't know what it is actually. In which case, yeah, there might be some little extra stuff. Extra things I might go back to. Oh, there's a music room. There's achievements too. I actually think I went back and to get like screenshots and stuff for my thumbnails for YouTube videos, where like I got like achievements accidentally. For example, there's the Natural Genius achievement, where technically I did not get 100% on my pop quiz the first time I did it, but when I went back I kind of like just picked the right choices and then kind of accidentally got that, you know. I got that initially, I guess, Casanova, because I visited all available heroines. Yeah. And I guess, yeah, Riddle Me This. Technically, I did not get this the first time. But when I went back and took some screenshots, I just put the right answer so I could like go through the scenes, and I accidentally got this as well. And I guess there's a bit more achievements to unlock. But well, these are just extra things really. I don't have to do them, but maybe. I might do like an extra, like, I don't know, bonus little like stream where I just go through and just get all the achievements, because why not? And also get this missing CG maybe? I don't know what it is. I don't know what choices I could have made. Guess. Overmaker. Yeah. Victory in sight. Anyway, I'm just listening to music. I guess I just end this already. Well, that was it for Lucid9 Inciting Incident. It's a pretty fun ride. Thanks for watching. Until next time, see you then. She's dead. Oh no.